First of all, let me thank you, in defense of Christians, for organizing this panel and giving me the chance to become a part of it. Thank you very much. And as an answer to your question, let me try to give a quick historical summary of conditions of existence for Armenians in Turkey, okay? So I think this will be an answer to your questions. Okay, I'm gonna be as quick as possible, as fast as possible, but let me start with the aftermath of First World War. After First World War, the survivors of Armenian genocide had a hope to heal their wounds, at least as much as possible, because we know that genocides are largely irreparable events, let's say. But in that relatively more optimistic environment, they hoped perpetrators would be punished and Armenians would be given a safe home where they can live as freely as themselves. And as I said, they will try to heal their wounds in this safe home. However, after the military victories of Turkish nationalist movement in Ankara, stationed in Ankara in 1921-1922, it was understood that the Armenian community would live as a minority in a Turkish nation state. Okay, and from that point on, we know from Lerna Ekmekçioğlu's and Ari Shekeryan's work that they started to develop a survival strategy in this new expected environment, which is, as I said, a Turkish nation state. And basically, this survival strategy had four pillars, okay, or let's say four bases. The first one is complete obedience, full obedience to the political authority, meaning state. Okay, and the second pillar, the second base, is forgetting the past. A kind of, if you like, we can say they adopted a kind of amnesia, especially considering the memory of Armenian genocide. And the third pillar is the severance of their ties with external Armenians, or in other words, diaspora Armenians, okay? In other words, they try to distance themselves from other Armenians, from outer Armenians. I don't know, maybe we can discuss why they adopted such an attitude, maybe in Q&A, but for saving time, let me go fast again at this point. And as the fourth pillar of this survival strategy, we can say that they became invisible in public life, okay, in public sphere, as much as possible. In other words, their life were restricted between home, church, and partially school. I say partially because, of course, schools were under the control or supervised by state authorities. Basically, after that point on, they try to prove that they can be loyal Turkish citizens, okay? And until very recently, within this survival strategy, they had not mentioned the Armenian genocide, leaving its commemoration aside. Even they didn't talk about Armenian genocide within themselves, okay? They also, as I said, as a kind of, let's say, deliberate amnesia, they prefer to forget about it. Again, they aim to prove that it's possible to be loyal Turkish citizens and Christian Armenians at the same time. So they try to separate their lives into different spheres and try to prove both to the state and both to themselves that this is possible, this can be done, this is doable, being loyal citizen of Turkey and at the same time Christians, Armenian as living Christian Armenians. In Turkey, indeed, they felt at home since they had not immigrated from another part of the world to this country or to that land. Although their overwhelming majority of them left their homes in Anatolia and settled in Istanbul. This is a trend continuing also in 20th century. And today, I don't know exact numbers, but 99.9% of Armenians in Turkey are living in Istanbul. However, feeling at home, contradictorily enough, does not mean that they are peaceful or comfortable. They have faced many problems and oppression throughout the Republican history. So we can say that they lived in a familiar but hostile environment. And I say familiar because people feel familiar at their home, but again, contradictorily enough, this is also an hostile environment. As a matter of fact, their demographic melting has been continuing since the beginning of the Republic. Today, according to most optimistic estimate, there are between 50 and 60,000 Armenian citizens living in Turkey. And if you consider that their number was around 80,000 in 1927, I mean, of course, after the genocide. And also, if you consider that from that time on, I mean, from 1927 to today, the whole population of Turkey has been multiplied by almost 14 times. So in such an environment, the number of Armenians decreased by 20-25%. So, but if you consider two numbers together, then you can understand how this huge deterioration or how this melting is. And as an important footnote, let me say that when I say here Armenians and Armenian citizens, I refer to quote unquote official Armenians, because, in Turkey, there are also an issue about Islamized Armenians, okay? And today, although it's not possible even as an educated guess to give their numbers, but we know that in Turkey today, descendants of those Armenians who became Muslim before, during, or after the genocide are still living in Turkey. Again, it's hard to tell their exact numbers. But here, when I say Armenians, I mean Christian, quote unquote, official and citizen Armenians. By the 2000s, as in another chapter maybe in this story, this situation started to change. Not fundamentally, but at least slightly, okay? Due to different reasons, including Turkey's quest to become an EU member, the political atmosphere in Turkey was relatively liberalized in early 2000s. And under these circumstances, Armenians in Turkey as a Christian community became more visible by both their individuals and institutions. For example, Aras Publishing House and Agos newspaper produced works about Armenian community identity and history. They started to talk more freely about sensitive topics such as the Armenian genocide. Assassination of Hrant Dink, the chief editor of Agos, in January 2007 came as a shock. But interestingly enough, it didn't completely halt the opening of the Armenian community. Agos, for example, has continued to be published until this day. Moreover, as a very important institution, Hrant Dink Foundation was added to the list of organizations that work for the rights of minorities, human rights, and preservation of multiculturalism. As for today, at the present time, backsliding of democracy and liberties in Turkey is not a secret. The country has been becoming more nationalist, chauvinist, and aggressive, as you all know. It is neither a secret that this kind of political atmosphere is much more difficult for ethno-religious minorities. And considering the recent war between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and that Turkey became a direct part of this conflict as an Azerbaijan ally, nowadays the life is not easy for Armenians in Turkey. But as a last remark and a positive remark, let me repeat that Armenian institutions and organizations continue to work. Armenian intellectuals continue to produce in Turkey. And hopefully, in a recent or near future, conditions will become more relaxed and liberalized in Turkey, and these works will be more, let's say, become more, let's say, productive. Okay, let me stop here. We can go into details of any topic in Q&A session. Thank you very much.